The warm glow of the afternoon sun filtered through the large windows, casting soft shadows across the room. Kania stood before her young master, her hands clasped neatly in front of her as she bowed deeply. "I hope the food is to your liking, young master," she said, her voice steady yet tinged with nervous anticipation. Across from her, Frey sat comfortably, munching on a sandwich, his expression one of quiet satisfaction. After swallowing, he leaned back slightly, exhaling in relief. "Of course it's great. I've been so frustrated not being able to say those simple words." Kania's face brightened instantly, her eyes widening as a faint pink hue dusted her cheeks. Frey, meanwhile, wiped the corners of his mouth and placed the empty plate aside. "All right, now that breakfast is over, let's get started on today's life force transfer." Kania stiffened. "But, young master, if you continue to—" "It's fine," Frey interjected before she could even finish, his tone firm yet casual. "It's not like I'll die just by giving you some life force." Despite his confidence, Kania's brows furrowed in concern. "Understood, but please refrain from pushing yourself too hard. I don't want you to strain yourself any more than necessary." Frey merely waved off her worries. After a moment of hesitation, Kania finally settled onto a chair, her movements slow, deliberate. She lifted her shirt slightly, exposing the smooth skin beneath. Though she said nothing, her flushed face spoke volumes. Frey took a deep breath. "I'll get started then." As the ritual began, a powerful aura enveloped the room. A reddish-pink light shimmered between them, flickering like a pulse of pure energy. Kania's body trembled slightly as the enormous amount of life force flowed into her. But Frey, sweat beaded along his forehead, his breathing growing uneven. His skin paled as an unnatural heat consumed his body. His vision blurred, and then, cough! A sharp pain shot through his chest. His body convulsed as he coughed violently, splattering red droplets of blood onto his sleeve. Kania's eyes snapped open, her momentary trance shattering as she took in the sight of her master. Her stomach twisted in pain. A searing, stabbing sensation tore through her abdomen, so intense that she cried out, clutching at her midsection. Frey's eyes widened in alarm. "Kania, what's wrong?" she gasped, her entire body trembling, as if an invisible blade was twisting inside her. Through her haze of pain, she saw it. Dark energy leaking from her stomach, swirling with ominous black tendrils. Frey's expression darkened. "Damn it," he muttered under his breath. "Some of my stellar mana and black magic must have gotten mixed in with the transfer." He reached out, his fingers already preparing to draw the corrupted energy back into himself. "Wait, young master, you mustn't." Before she could stop him, Frey placed his palm over her stomach and began absorbing the dark energy back into his own body. The pain in Kania's stomach began to ease, but at a terrible cost. Frey's face contorted in agony. Sweat dripped from his temples, his fingers trembling from the sheer effort. His vision flickered, his limbs felt unbearably heavy, and the moment he withdrew the last trace of corrupted magic. NGH. His body nearly collapsed forward. Kania lunged, catching his wrist. "Young master, please stop this." "I'm fine. Just stop," she pleaded, desperation lacing her voice. Frey sucked in a breath, his chest heaving. And then, phew, he exhaled sharply, forcing a weak chuckle. "That was over faster than I thought." Kania stared at him, her heart pounding from the sheer lengths he had just gone for her. But before she could find the right words to say, her gaze landed on his left arm. Her eyes widened. "Young master, your arm." She gasped, her voice raw with panic. Frey followed her gaze. His left arm was bruised, nearly black, dark energy still faintly swirling around it. Blood dripped from the tips of his fingers, splattering onto the floor. Yet he merely waved his hand dismissively. "It's just a bruise." He flexed his fingers slightly before rolling down his sleeve to cover the wound. "It hurts a little, but I'll be fine. I'm right-handed anyway, so it's not a big deal." Kania's hands clenched into fists, her expression darkening. Getting rid of this is going to be near impossible. Frey sighed, forcing a reassuring smile despite his exhaustion. "It's not the end of the world." His voice was light, too light, as if to make the issue seem insignificant. It'll probably go back to normal once this is all over. But Kania, she couldn't hide the way her expression twisted in distress. As she stared at the man before her, the one sacrificing himself time and time again for her sake, she felt an unfamiliar sensation bubbling inside her. A painful, desperate ache. Before she could dwell on it any longer, Frey stretched, shaking off the tension in his limbs. Anyway, school is about to start. We should get going. Kania took a moment to steady herself, suppressing her thoughts. Then, she bowed slightly, her voice composed but tinged with something else. Something unspoken. Yes, young master. Let's head out. As evening settled over the academy, the students sat attentively in the lecture hall, their professor standing before them with an air of authority. For the midterms, the matches will be one-on-one sparring duels, she announced, her voice cutting through the murmurs of the class. Seated toward the back, Frey leaned against his chair, arms crossed as he watched in silence. My body's in awful shape right now, but my plans have gone off without a hitch. I've been working hard to build up points at the academy. As he pondered his progress, a familiar chime echoed in his mind. Ding! A translucent system screen appeared before him. False evil point status. Total false evil points acquired, 3,560. Remaining false evil points, 630. Another screen materialized, listing his current store purchases. Store inventory. Information search, level 2. Emergency safeguard. Mind reading, level 2. Frey smirked. I've obtained all the available skills and items. Now I can focus on the main quest. Another system chime rang. Ding. New main quest unlocked. Main quest 1-to-1. Fight Irina Fillier during the midterms and achieve victory. Reward. Lifespan charger. This quest does not interfere with the progress of the route. No penalty will be incurred if skipped. Frey's expression darkened as he processed the information. So this quest forces Irina into the fire. If I remember correctly, the nobles who lost to her in the midterms held a grudge and later attacked the commoners' dormitory. But their actions in this scenario could change depending on my choices. Whether I win, lose, or even run away from my match with Irina. Each choice will affect the future. As these thoughts ran through his mind, visions of possible futures flickered before his eyes. A man kneeling in defeat before Irina, his eyes burning with humiliation, gripping his weapon as he glared toward the commoner's dormitory, a silent vow of revenge forming. The scene shifted. The same man, leading an attack against the dormitory, flames consuming the building as terrified screams echoed in the night. Frey's eyes narrowed. So if I lose to her, I can indirectly push the story in that direction. Another system prompt interrupted his thoughts. Alternate paths unlocked. Avoid the fight entirely and manipulate another into taking your place. Become the mastermind. Defeat Irina and claim victory. Reward. Villain's unspecified gift. High difficulty. Lose to Irina. Frey smirked. I can handle the penalties without issue. Obviously, I'll choose the route where I become the villain. Following the prophecy is much easier than gambling on an unknown path. He turned his focus back to the professor as she concluded her speech. Anyone who slacks off will fail immediately. Prepare for your matches. Pair up and report by next period. That's all. As she stepped down from the podium, Frey scanned the room, analyzing the current situation. A bead of sweat slid down his temple. This is troublesome. Fighting Irina is easy, but the problem is she has no chance of beating me right now. The scene shifted. The dimly lit alley behind the academy dormitories was filled with the sounds of struggle. A group of brutish men stood in a semicircle, raining kicks and blows upon two young women. Their cruel laughter echoed in the night. A blonde noblewoman stood off to the side, arms crossed, watching the scene unfold with a mocking smile. One of the victims, Irina Fillier, gritted her teeth, her body trembling from pain. Stop it. This has nothing to do with any of you. One of the brutes sneered. Nothing to do with us. You ruined Lord Frey's mood. Beside her, a second girl, a brunette, sobbed, her hands trembling as she desperately cast a shield spell to protect them. But the ones who invited Irina to the banquet didn't say anything. A sharp kick to her stomach cut off her words. The brute grinned. Those idiots don't count. Then, A slow, deliberate set of footsteps echoed through the alley. A chilling presence descended upon them. The group froze. Frey stepped forward, his expression unreadable, his scarlet eyes gleaming under the moonlight. "Oh, you're clever, huh?" he mused, his voice laced with amusement. "I didn't even have to order you to do this." A wicked smile curled at his lips as he approached the blonde noblewoman. The girl's face flushed pink, her playful giggle breaking the silence. "Oh my Lord Frey, how could you come to such a filthy place?" She clung to his arm, pressing against him as she batted her lashes. Frey merely chuckled. "I was just thinking about the woman who ran away last time." The blonde noblewoman's smirk widened. "I see. Don't worry, the punishment will be over soon." Frey's gaze snapped back to the two beaten girls, his eyes cold. "Irina." She flinched at the sound of her name. He took another step forward, his overwhelming aura pressing down on her like a crushing weight. "Why did you run away last time?" The brunette girl, still clutching her stomach, sobbed. "I can't do something as horrible as that." She forced herself between Frey and Irina, trembling. Frey's gaze flickered over her, unimpressed. "I see. So you can do everything except foolish things." The blonde noblewoman beside him scoffed. "How vulgar." One of the brutes chuckled. "Interesting." Frey let out a small laugh, his gaze settling back on Irina. Then, "Irina, how about this?" He tilted his head, his smirk widening. "The winner of the midterm test gets to decide what happens to the loser. Anything they want." He let out a low laugh, his tone dripping with amusement. "That way it's fair, right?" Irina's eyes widened in horror. The game had already begun. A gamble with fate. "I can't trust you." The brown-haired girl screamed without hesitation, her voice laced with fear and desperation. Frey rubbed his temple, sighing. "I wasn't asking you." His crimson eyes glowed under the dim alley light. "I'm asking Irina." Or, he took a step forward, his presence suffocating. "Will you fight me instead?" The girl's face went pale. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. She knew the truth. Facing him was impossible. Irina clenched her fists, biting her lip so hard it nearly bled. Her friend had protected her all this time, only to be dragged into this mess because of her weakness. She hated it. She hated feeling powerless. With fierce determination, she screamed, "Damn it, fine. I'll do it." Frey's smirk widened. "Oh, you said it yourself, then." He casually stretched his arms before making an enticing offer. "If you win, I'll give you 1,000 gold." He paused, his eyes gleaming with amusement. "But if you lose, you become my slave." A wave of sinister energy rippled through the air, dark mist coiling around him like living shadows. The brown-haired girl burst into tears, grabbing Irina's arm in desperation. "Please don't do this. You can't beat him." Frey ignored her, reaching into his jacket. A pendant glimmered as he pulled it out. A skull-shaped amulet crafted from obsidian, eerie red veins pulsing through it. "I see. Then let's make it official." His tone was casual, yet undeniably menacing. He dangled the amulet before Irina, its ominous glow reflecting in her widened eyes. "I'll take a death oath with you." A tense silence fell over the alley. Even the brutes, once laughing, stood frozen, their gazes locked onto the artifact. Irina's breath hitched. A death oath. The contract bound the souls of both parties. If either broke their word, they would die. Frey extended the pendant toward her. "You commoners are quick to break promises, after all." Irina's body stiffened. Her fingers dug in her palm, nails biting into skin as she hugged the trembling brown-haired girl tightly. "What did you just say?" she snapped, fury burning in her exhausted gaze. Her friend continued pleading, her voice cracking. "Irina, please. You can't. He's too strong." Irina gently patted the girl's head, her touch soft yet resolute. "It's fine. I just have to crush him." She grabbed the skull-shaped amulet, and the moment her fingers closed around it, a crimson glow erupted. A single drop of sweat rolled down her cheek. Frey grinned. "I see." He pulled out an identical amulet from his jacket. As he and Irina brought them together, the skulls' mouths opened wide. From within, chains shaped like jagged daggers shot forward, piercing straight into their chests. Neither fell, neither bled. Yet, the feeling was unmistakable, a binding curse far deeper than any physical wound. Irina gasped, clutching her chest. Frey, on the other hand, didn't even flinch. He leaned in slightly, his voice barely above a whisper. Do you know what happens if you break this oath? His smirk deepened. If you do, you'd better prepare your own coffin. The blonde noblewoman in the background shivered in excitement, her breath hitching. Even though it's life or death, he didn't hesitate for even a second. Her face flushed, admiration swelling in her chest. Lord Frey, you truly are the most special person in the world. Meanwhile, the brutes gawked at him, astonished. Did he really just put his life on the line for a commoner? Frey turned to the blonde noblewoman, his gaze sharp. That's right. You lot, don't lay a hand on these two anymore. She smiled, bowing slightly. Understood. From now on, we'll leave everything to Lord Frey. Frey smirked, turning away. But before he left, he spoke one last time. I refuse to use others for my goals, so you'd better follow my words. As he walked away, his thoughts churned. I successfully paired up with Irina and handled all the annoying flies. He cast a glance at her, watching as she struggled to stand, still cradling the sobbing brown-haired girl. A system screen appeared before his eyes. Ding! Irina Filliard. Status: mana depletion, severe. TCH. The problem is, I have to lose to her, but she's too weak to put up a fight right now. Another chime echoed. Ding! False villain points plus 500. Achievement unlocked. Life or death, fly extermination. Before he could dismiss the screen, another system notification popped up. Ding! New. The skill store has unlocked additional options due to the accumulation of false villain points. Frey raised an eyebrow. Oh, that's convenient. He opened the skill store, and a new list of abilities appeared before him. Skill store LV.2. Mana transfer LV.1. 800 points. Transfer mana to a target through physical contact. Repeated use may cause mana depletion or fainting. A grin stretched across his face. If she's too weak for mana depletion, then I'll just give her my mana. His crimson eyes gleamed with wicked amusement. The pieces were falling into place, and the game had only just begun.